Most of you will probably recognize what I'm holding in my hand. This is an engine seal, particularly a front crank seal. Now there's a number of seals on automotive engines that need to be replaced from time to time, and a lot of times these get replaced improperly. There are some hazards, and I'm going to repeat, there are some real hazards that you need to be aware of when you go to purchase one of these seals and when you go to install it. Let me show you. This is the front side of a typical seal. And one thing you want to remember, notice it has two lips, and whatever you're sliding this over has to slide freely into the first lip and then through the second lip. So it's very important anytime you're installing a seal like this, you coat this with a grease. I like to use a thin coating of synthetic grease on the lip of the seal. I thoroughly wipe it on both lips before I go to install it onto the engine. But more importantly, I want to talk to you about the back side right here. Most seals like this have a spring on the back side. Now this spring is on there so that this seal will last longer. As it rides on the surface, whatever is rotating within that seal, without this spring here, you can see what would happen over time. This seal would deform and it would lose the seal much quicker. So manufacturers put a spring on the back side to help hold that seal lip tightly to whatever it's sealing against. Now here's the other warning I want to share with you, and I saw this in this seal sitting here in my shop. This seal has been sitting around here for a few years out in the open, and notice how rusty this spring is. You do not want to install a seal like this with a rusty spring, because this could let loose, and once again, if the spring breaks, you've lost a good part of the sealing authority, if I could call that, of this particular seal. So inspect this spring. It might be new old stock seal. Make sure that the spring is not rusty. Then, when you go to install the seal on the engine, you need to be very careful not to pop this spring off the lip. Look at how easy that comes off. Watch. Just like that. It pops right off. It does not take a lot of force. So you can imagine, and I know a lot of mechanics or DIYers will do this, they'll get this seal up to wherever it needs to go, and they'll get a block of wood or something, and they'll start hammering away on the seal. Well, you start hammering away on the seal like this, you're going to pop that spring off. And you'll never know. That's the sad thing about it. You'll never know, once the seal's in place, that this spring fell off. And about a year later, the seal will start leaking. I can almost guarantee it. It won't start leaking right away because the seal's new and there's enough tension in the rubber. But once this wears for a while, without the spring on the back side, you're going to have a leaking seal. Now, over the years, I've learned that you can apply a certain compound along this spring edge here to help hold it in place so that when you're installing it, it's not going to pop off. And that's what I call a super, super sticky grease. Now, this is the type of grease you purchase for wheel bearings that go on trailers that go into salt water. I mean, this stuff is really sticky, but about 10 years ago, I found a big bucket of the most sticky grease I've ever seen in my life. I do put this in my lube kit. Some of you have already got my lube kit may wonder, what in the world do you have this sticky grease in there for? Now watch, when I say sticky, I really mean sticky. Make sure you got gloves on. I'm going to show you this. Most of you will probably never see a grease this sticky, but watch as I put this swab in here and lift this up. See that? Now would you say that's sticky or what? I don't even like to get my hands on it. But that is one super sticky grease. And I include this in my lube kit because you can use this anytime you're installing seals like this. You can even use the super sticky part on the lip. You can also use this for other things that you're installing that you want to hold in place. Some sort of rubber gaskets or something that won't be harmed by having petroleum products up against them. But you can get this super sticky grease here and literally it's not going to come off anything. But here's the trick that I use. Anytime I'm installing a seal like this, I put a coating of this super sticky grease on the back side of the seal, just like this. so that that spring can't pop off. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't pop off, but the odds of it popping off now, if you have to tap on the seal to get it seated, are very small. Watch as I see what I mean by super sticky? Can't even get a hold of it. You got to kind of wind it up like a taffy, all right? All right, so I'll get this nice thick coat of super sticky grease on here, and then look, see, you can come and use it on the inside too. Okay, now watch. I'm going to move this out of the way, and let's see if we can get the spring to come off. See, even hitting it as hard as I can hit it against this stainless plate here, I cannot get that spring to pop free of that lip. So there's the tip of the day, the tip of the month, or maybe the tip of the year. Anytime you're installing these seals, make sure you do something like this to prevent that spring from coming off during assembly.